Please, he cried. They're evicting me. I have nowhere to go. The shock on his face was priceless when I dangled a key. Oh. I know, I said, smiling. I'm your new landlord. And rent is due. The house was dead quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the soft, snuffly sounds of my 1-month-old nursing. It was 3 a.m. That specific hour when the world feels like it belongs only to the exhausted and the lonely. I was both. Rocking gently in the glider we'd put in the living room. I stared out at the dark street of our new neighborhood. Feeling that familiar, bone-deep exhaustion of new motherhood. My 2-year-old was asleep upstairs. And for a few minutes, everything was still. I was just a mom, awake with her baby. It was almost peaceful. That's when his phone, sitting on the kitchen island where had left it to charge, buzzed. The vibration cut through the silence, sharp and loud. I figured it was a late-night work email or a system alert. But it buzzed again. And again. Curiosity. Or maybe some dormant, ugly instinct made me shift the baby to one arm and walk over. The screen lit up with the lock screen preview. My breath caught in my throat. It was her name. The same name that had been the soundtrack to a year of misery during my first pregnancy. My first thought wasn't anger. It was confusion. A weird, detached sense of, that can't be right. He swore had blocked her. He showed me. We'd been through months of therapy. He cried. He begged. He gave me access to everything to prove he was transparent. For a second, my brain tried to make it make sense. Maybe it was a group chat. Maybe she was messaging him about something innocent. But at 3 a.m. No. My hands started to shake. I laid the baby down in her bassinet. My movements stiff and robotic. I picked up his phone. My thumbprint, which had added as a sign of trust. Opened it right up. The first thing I did was check his location. Find My Friends showed his little icon sitting right on top of mine. Right here in our new house. See? He's here. He's in our bed. My brain was desperately trying to reassure itself. But the promise had made wasn't just about where he was now. It was about where had been. I opened his Maps app. My heart pounding against my ribs. I found the timeline. The history feature that tracks everywhere you go. I scrolled back a day. A week. A month. And there it was. A recurring pin. Dropped 3 or 4 times a week. Always in the late afternoon. It was an address in a part of town I didn't know. Her part of town. I scrolled back further. April. March. February. 5 months. The entire time I was in the last, most difficult stage of my pregnancy. The whole time I was recovering from childbirth. I didn't cry. I just stood there in the dark kitchen. The phone's blue light illuminating my face. And felt nothing. It was like watching a movie you've already seen. You know the ending. You know the jump scares. And all you can feel is a profound, hollow disappointment. He hadn't changed. Had just gotten better at lying. The location sharing. The apologies. The therapy, it wasn't a path to redemption. It was a strategy. I have to face him in the morning. I have to get our toddler ready for the day. Make coffee. And look at the man who has been living this disgusting double life while I brought our second child into the world. My mind is a blank slate of shock. I feel like I'm outside my own body, watching this unfold. So, Reddit. Here's my question. How do you even do that? How do you pretend for a few more hours? How do you sit across the breakfast table from someone when you know you hold the information that's going to detonate your entire life? The morning was a masterclass in going through the motions. I made oatmeal for my son. Changed the baby. And even managed to smile when the toddler smeared a glob of it in his hair. All the while, he was moving around me, seemingly oblivious, asking where the coffee filters were and talking about a package that was supposed to arrive. I felt like a ticking bomb in a quiet library. The silence was the only thing holding me together. I just had to wait for the right moment. It came around 1 p.m. The baby was fed and asleep in her bassinet. And ID just managed to get our toddler down for his nap. The house fell quiet again. But this time it was a heavy, suffocating silence. He was on the couch, scrolling through his phone like it was any other Tuesday. I walked over. His phone, the one I'd put back on the charger before he woke up, in my hand. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even feel angry anymore. I just felt tired. I placed the phone on the coffee table in front of him. The screen opened to his map history with the damning, repeating pinpricks of his betrayal. "What is this?" I asked. My voice was flat. He glanced at it, then back at me. A flicker of confusion in his eyes. "It's my maps." "What are you talking about?" He tried to play dumb. His first line of defense. When I didn't respond, just kept my eyes locked on his. His expression shifted. The denial curdled into defensiveness. "Seriously? You were going through my phone?" I gave you my location. I gave you everything. What more do you want? This was part 2 of the script. Flip the blame. I saw it coming a mile away. I just shook my head slowly. That's when he knew. He knew that I knew everything. And just like that, the anger dissolved. And the final act began. His face crumpled. His eyes welled up. And the first tear traced a path down his cheek. He reached for me. Baby. I'm so sorry. He choked out. It was a mistake. It meant nothing. I swear. I'll stop. I'll do anything. Please. Don't do this. I can't lose my family. I stood there and watched the performance. It was uncanny. Like a rerun of a show I never wanted to see again. The words were the same. The desperate tone was the same. The calculated way he let his voice break was the same. And in that moment, I realized something with cold, hard clarity. This wasn't remorse. This was damage control. He wasn't crying because he hurt me. He was crying because he got caught. I felt a profound wave of embarrassment wash over me, not for what he did, but for the fact that I had ever fallen for this act before. He tried to stand up, to pull me into a hug, probably to make me feel his shaking shoulders and hear his sobs in my ear. I took a step back. No, I said. The word was quiet, but it felt like the loudest sound ID ever made. Don't touch me. He's in the other room now. I can hear him intermittently crying. He's already sent me 3 texts apologizing, saying we can fix this. He's trying to pull me back into that cycle. And a small, stupid part of me feels a flicker of guilt for being the one to end it. It's insane. I know. My question is for anyone who's been here. How do you keep your resolve strong when the person who shattered your world is doing everything they can to make you feel like the one holding the hammer? The sound of him closing the bedroom door was a soft click, but it echoed in the room like a gunshot. And then, silence. I was alone in the living room of the home we'd moved into in May. A place that was supposed to be our fresh start. It still smelled like new paint. My eyes traced the room, taking in the scene with a horrifying new clarity. Half-unpacked boxes were still stacked against one wall, labeled kitchen and photos in his handwriting. The brand-new baby swing we'd spent an hour assembling sat in the corner, a monument to a future that just evaporated. My son's favorite blue dinosaur was lying on its side on the rug. This was supposed to be our life. Our family. A solid, real thing. Now it all felt like a movie set. And someone had just yelled cut. My gaze landed on a pile of mail on the little desk by the window. On top was the thick welcome packet from the leasing office. Our rental agreement inside. My stomach clenched so hard I thought I might be sick. Trapped. That was the first word that came to mind. We signed a 12-month lease. We're barely 3 months in. I sank onto the couch, pulling out my own phone with numb fingers. I opened my banking app. The number staring back at me was what it always was, enough for my share of the bills. A little for groceries. A little for savings. It was a number that made sense with a partner. It was not a number that could support a mother and 2 children alone in this city. My mind started to spin. A frantic, panicked calculator. The rent here is $200. My car payment is $350. Car insurance. Utilities. Internet. Groceries for 3 people. Diapers for 2 kids. Formula. Because my stress has completely tanked my supply. The math didn't just not work. It was a joke. I was so deep in the red it wasn't even funny. The immediate, suffocating weight of it all pressed down on my chest. For the first time all day, I felt the tears coming. Hot and sharp. But they weren't tears of heartbreak. They were tears of pure, unadulterated terror. He didn't just cheat on me. He cheated me, my son, and my newborn daughter out of a home, out of stability, out of a future that was supposed to be secure. Staying here is not an option. Every time I look at him, I will see a liar. It will poison me. And it will poison my children's home. But leaving feels like stepping off a cliff in the dark. I haven't cried yet. But I can feel myself standing on the edge of a very dark place. I'm scared if I let myself fall. I want to get back up. And my kids need me to get up. They need me to be strong. But I feel like I'm crumbling from the inside out. My biggest, most immediate problem is this lease. How do people do this? How do you break a lease without destroying your finances and your ability to rent somewhere else? What are the first steps? I'm here. In this brand new apartment that feels like a prison. And I don't know where to start. Any advice? Any encouragement at all would mean the world to me right now.